So about 5 years ago, I built this barbecue pit, and one of the biggest mistakes I made was I didn't make enough room for shelf space on it. I put one shelf right in front of the door, and it's a little too shallow. So now 5 years later, I finally decided I'm going to go ahead and build a bigger shelf. Whenever you set stuff on it, it's always in the way of the door opening and closing, so I should have built a bigger shelf on the side of it. Alright, let's get into it. So I had some extra 1.5 inch square tube laying around that I'm using, and I'm going to build a frame. I pulled all the measurements off of the pit just to kind of get a general idea of the size I want, and then laying it out on this piece of square tube, I went ahead and used the portaband to cut all the pieces to the right length. After I got all the pieces cut to length, I laid all the pieces out on the side of the fab table and used the corner to make sure that they were square, and then I just clamped to the table to hold them in place. Using my little 110 flux core welder, I tacked all the pieces together and welded them all. Then I have a flap wheel on the grinder that I use just to smooth out all the outside welds. Here's the finished piece with all the corners ground smooth. After I had it all cleaned up, before I mounted it on the pit, I used a piece of cardboard here to make a template. I'm going to end up making a wood inlay for this shelf, so I wanted to have an easy template to follow to make the correct shape. So I laid it out on this sheet and marked it, and then just cut it out with a razor blade. After I made the template, I had some little tabs that I welded on the inside and drilled a hole in them, and these will end up screwing the piece of wood to it later. Once I had it all ready to go, I used a couple clamps to hold it in place and made sure it was level and flat with the existing shelf that was on the front of the pit. Then I tacked it in place and welded the two ends out completely. As I was working on this, I realized my wood handles on the pit were looking a little rough, so I think I'm going to have to replace those whenever I make the wooden insert as well. I used a flap wheel again to clean up all the welds to smooth it out to try and make it look like a smooth transition. And then here I'm test fitting my template now that it's all welded in. So I made it to where it fit tight, and then I took an extra 1/8 inch off of each edge of it. That way once I make the final piece of wood, it'll have a little bit of room for expansion in there. And then I actually left a 1 inch gap in between the side of the pit itself and the wood, just to make sure the heat doesn't mess with it too much. After that, I shot a little high heat barbecue pit paint. Make sure and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss part 2 of this. I'm going to be building the wood insert for the shelf out of a couple pieces of oak that I had milled down a few years ago. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it.